The CBO report is explicit. Under this legislation, if it were to pass, the wages of American workers will fall for the next 12 years. They will be lower than inflation rate. They will decline from the present unacceptably low rate, continue to decline for 12 years, according to this report. That alone should cause us to defeat this bill. We've been told it's going to create prosperity and growth, but what it's going to produce is more unemployment, as this report explicitly states. It's going to produce lower wages for Americans, as this report explicitly states, and it's going to increase the deficit. So I think we need to have an understanding here that something very serious is afoot. I'll just read some of the things that are in it. Quote, I'm on page 7 of the economic impact of S744. Quote, S744 would allow significantly more workers with low skills and with high skills to enter the United States. Taking into account all those flows of new immigrants, CBO and the joint tax expect that a greater number of immigrants with lower skills than with higher skills will be added to the workforce. In other words, of the group coming in, more will be lower skilled than high skilled, just as I have indicated and other commentators have indicated previously. Going on to say this, quote, slightly pushing down the average wage of the labor force as a whole. But they go on to say this, get this, the next sentence. However, CBO and joint tax expect that currently unauthorized workers, illegal workers, in other words, who obtain legal status under 744 will see an increase in their wages. He goes on to say this, dramatically, I suggest. The average wage would be lower than under current law over the first dozen years. And it says, CBO estimates that it would increase unemployment for at least 7 years. So this is supposed to be good for the people we represent. And of course, I would like to ask again our colleagues to think carefully about our duty here, who it is we represent in this body, and what kind of responsibilities we have to decent, hardworking Americans who experts have told us have seen their wages decline every year virtually since 1999. So this will add to the problems, what this report says, quite clearly, unequivocally. It's going to increase unemployment, and it's going to pull down wages. That is exactly the wrong thing that ought to be happening at this time. How in the world can we justify passing a bill that hammers the American working man and woman who's out trying to feed a family, get a job, that has a little retirement, a little health care, some money to be able to take care of the family, and hammer them with additional adverse economic impacts? I suggest to you this is not a report that in any way justifies advancing this legislation.